Here's your wrestling news for September 22nd, 2022, and we're kicking off with AEW, and going into last night's Dynamite Grand Slam, the biggest question is who would leave the company as the new AEW World Champion and replace the suspended CM Punk as the face of the company. When Punk left ROH in 2005, they called on Bryan Danielson to be champion, and WWE did the same when Punk walked out in 2014, but that trend was broken last night. Instead, it was Jon Moxley who regained the AEW World Championship, and if you include his interim title reign, this makes Moxley a now 4-time world champion in the promotion. Moxley applied the sleeper hold for a monumental win on AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, but fans haven't exactly been thrilled. On social media, the bout has received a mixed reaction, as while the match itself was excellent, the decision to make Moxley champion over Danielson has received some criticism. Many feel that this was the right time to pull the trigger on Danielson, and others joke that Moxley will never get the vacation he was meant to go on before being called back following Punk and the Elite's suspension. However you feel about the win, Jon Moxley is once again AEW World Champion, and fans of the American Dragon will have to keep waiting to see if he ever gets that big win. But what do you think? Is Moxley the right call, or should it have been Danielson who ended the show on top? Let us know in the comments. The decision to make Moxley the world champion again may not have been loved by all, but the two Blackpool Combat Club members were able to keep on the same page after the show. In a video recorded after the show went off the air, Danielson put the strap around Mox's waist, hugged him, and raised his hand as the crowd applauded. Now Moxley is expected to defend his title against MJF at Full Gear, who was watching all the action from above at Dynamite, and this post-show segment between Moxley and Danielson was an excellent way to cap off a huge night in Arthur Ashe Stadium. More from AEW as last night's Grand Slam Dynamite saw the debut of a former WWE superstar, and her name is Saraya. During the show, Toni Storm retained the interim AEW Women's World Championship, but she and Athena were attacked post-match by Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Serena Deeb. The beatdown would have continued if not for Saraya, aka Paige, who made her debut and came to the aid of her fellow former WWE superstars. It's unclear what her medical status is and whether she will be able to wrestle in AEW, something that we know she wanted to do in WWE but never got the chance after her 2018 retirement. Saraya had been teasing something big for some time, and after making her AEW debut last night, we'll have to see what's in store for the British wrestler. Saraya made her AEW debut last night, and though we don't know what the future holds, we know that this isn't a one-off appearance. Tony Khan took to Twitter after Saraya's debut to confirm that she is signed with the promotion and officially announced that she is All Elite. It was first reported by us weeks ago that Saraya and AEW had been in talks, and those talks clearly paid off, both for her and for the promotion. Now Tony Khan has another huge name on his roster, and after teasing a 6-woman tag during this week's Grand Slam Dynamite, and that seems more likely now we know that the British star is staying with AEW for the long term. Saraya's debut was a huge moment during this week's AEW Dynamite, and as you'd expect, fans on social media exploded over her surprise appearance. Fans noted how they hadn't seen this coming, calling it a great moment, while others were just happy to see her in AEW. One user who goes by Fiend for Follows had some fun, sharing an image of WWE Backstage from Fox Sports 1, as everyone involved in the photo either works with or is affiliated with AEW. There were some fans who questioned if Saraya has now been cleared to wrestle, with one person calling it the biggest women's signing in AEW history. It'll certainly be interesting to see what the future holds for Saraya, both in AEW and possibly in the ring, but if she still wants to wrestle again, her future certainly looks bright in All Elite Wrestling. More title change news now, as it wasn't just the AEW Gold that changed hands last night, but the Ring of Honor World Championship also found a new owner. In the show's opener, Chris Jericho earned his first ROH World title, defeating Claudio Castagnoli in the process, and used referee Aubrey Edwards as a distraction. A low blow and Judas effect later, and Jericho captured his first world title in 3 years, a decision that hasn't thrilled fans. Online, audiences questioned the decision, saying that the decision to make the 51-year-old veteran the new champion doesn't exactly make sense for ROH, which has always been considered a youth movement. Others simply said that while they love Jericho, he doesn't need to be a world champion at this point in his career, especially as it cuts short Claudio Castagnoli's first ever world title reign at just 60 days. Whatever fans may think, Chris Jericho is the new Ring of Honor World Champion, and with the Jericho Appreciation Society by his side, it may be a lengthy reign ahead for Le Champion. Do you think Jericho is the right person to be champion, or is he too old to be a top name at this point? Let us know below. The debut of Saraya and the multiple world title changes last night were huge moments for AEW, so it's a shame that it didn't play out in front of a bigger audience. Despite her debut, multiple title matches and title changes, and a guaranteed new AEW World Champion, the show didn't exactly sell out according to photos taken inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. Photos from Dynamite showed that there were a ton of seats that didn't sell for the show, and that AEW adjusted the camera angles to make sure these weren't seen. This is hardly a new practice in wrestling, as several promotions have done this over the years, and it looks like AEW will have to do it again soon. WrestleTix reports that there are still thousands of tickets left for tomorrow's AEW Rampage Grand Slam, with 12,396 out of the available 15,432 tickets having sold. From the looks of it, AEW will again have to adjust their camera angles to make sure that this week's Rampage looks like a packed show, and while Dynamite had a lot happen, it wasn't enough to sell out the event. In recent weeks, AEW has been holding mandatory talent-wide meetings to discuss some of the problems the promotion has faced as of late. The first meeting took place in August to address reports of unhappy talent and Tony Khan being unavailable, while the second happened earlier this month in the wake of the All-Out Media Scrum scandal. Now a third meeting has taken place, this time before last night's AEW Grand Slam Dynamite, according to Fightful Select. They report that this meeting was mostly a pep talk ahead of the Grand Slam show, and that things have been more laid back compared to the lead-up to AEW All Out. One longtime AEW talent added that the locker room has been the best over the last 3 weeks than it's been in quite a while, with another source using the phrase addition by subtraction, implying that things have gotten better with the removal of others. This is almost certainly a nod to CM Punk, who it's been reported that the majority of the locker room is against after All Out, and between a happier locker room and an impressive Grand Slam, Tony Khan will have some tough calls to make when deciding whether to bring Punk back. In 2017, the WWE had just kicked off their Mae Young Classic, but one match didn't go as initially planned. That match in question was the first round bout between Rachel Evers, the daughter of Paul Ellering, and Marty Bell, a contest the second-generation wrestler would win. This week, Dave Meltzer revealed that Bell was supposed to win it first, until Triple H changed things around. It happened due to injuries a couple of times, and then I remember once, Paul Levesque, Triple H, there was a women's tournament, and it was Marty Bell and Rachel Ellering. Rachel Ellering was going to lose, and in the middle of the match he switched it. He didn't like Marty Bell and how she was working. Bell didn't get signed by WWE after the tournament, and while she'd go on to perform for the NWA, where she's a former women's tag team champion, Triple H is no fan of her work. Now, AEW has had its share of problems as of late, but you wouldn't know it by listening to the company's president, Tony Khan. Instead, Khan has refused to speak about AEW's issues, but has never shied away from taking shots at WWE, recently poking fun at the ratings of Raw, which have dipped due to the return of the NFL. While speaking on his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T took issue with Khan's comments, saying that perhaps he should spend more time reflecting on his own problems. Worry about your company. Worry about the turmoil that's going on inside of AEW right now, and try to fix that before you start thinking about what WWE is doing, and instead of running his mouth about WWE. I have a lot of respect for Tony Khan. Sometimes you earn respect as well. You don't earn it by going out there talking, you earn it by going out there and doing it. I think I would have a whole lot more respect for Tony Khan if he handled his business, and we all know what that is. We saw the press conference. Yeah, as I said, I don't get it. There's a lot of upside about AEW. Just like Chris Jericho was talking at that press conference, some things are better kept to ourselves. Instead of blowing up WWE, especially with how WWE is rolling right now. We'll have to see if Khan stops taking shots at WWE, as he has his own share of problems to fix, but given that he lashed out at WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia just a few days ago, it seems that's unlikely to happen. And we're ending today with Randy Orton, who is instantly recognizable to fans with his tattoos, but his ink has caused some problems for him and WWE in recent years. For some time, the topic of Orton's tattoos have been the subject of a lawsuit, as a tattoo artist, Catherine Alexander, is arguing that she should be paid for the use of her ink in WWE games. The case was filed in 2018 but has been delayed several times, but as PW Insider now reports, the Viper is heading to court. WWE star Randy Orton is scheduled as a witness in the trial for the lawsuit his tattoo artist Catherine Alexander has brought against World Wrestling Entertainment, Take-Two Interactive Software, 2K Games Inc., 2K Sports Inc., Visual Concepts Entertainment, Ukes Co. Limited, and Ukes LA Inc. before the U.S. District Court Southern District of Illinois. Not only does Alexander argue that her ink is recognizable by Orton's fans, but she also claims to have submitted applications on copyrights for the artwork on March 15th before this case began. WWE did offer Alexander a $450 fee for the rights, which she feels isn't what she deserves, and we'll keep following the case, which could be a landmark case to determine the use of tattoos in video games. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.